it's very hard to say at this stage, but we've been hearing names mentioned, powerful people, names in high places, going on for a couple of decades now. And we know that people have tried to make reports to the police perhaps 20 years ago, even longer, and not been taken seriously. We've heard, that there are paedophile rings that operate at a very high level throughout this country, many different paedophile rings, and some of them have powerful people involved.
Just to reiterate the point, John, there are those names that keep cropping up and have been doing what for years now?
For decades, really. Some of these names, and for example, Cyril Smith, who we can talk about. He's dead now, but even while he was still alive, that was one of those names that was cropping up again and again in connection with paedophile rings and abuse.
The thing is, in the past, victims have felt they haven't been listened to by the authorities. Have things changed in that regard?
We certainly hope so. And in recent years, the police and the CPS have realised that they made pretty serious mistakes in the past, and they've come to organisations like ourselves and asked for advice on how to improve. They've listened and they put things into practice.
And it's just been announced today that former judge Dame Elizabeth Butler-Sloss is going to chair a review into historical child sex abuse. Your reaction to that?
Well, we were very pleased yesterday when the Home Secretary said that this would go ahead and that it would be given pretty impressive powers. The next important step is to make sure that the other people who help out with this intelligence gathering and assessment with Butler-Sloss and the Home Secretary together, they will have to pick a team. And we very much hope that people who've actually been through the experience of childhood abuse perpetrated by famous and powerful people are included and listened to. They're the only people who really know. We're the ones who are in contact with those people, and we're expecting a call. We do need to make sure that the people who experience these abuses are included and their testimony is taken seriously.
Do you think they will then get justice?
Very hard to say. I mean, justice, it's what would justice be? How could you define justice for somebody who's been raped again and again and again all the way through their childhood? No amount of compensation is going to make up for that, and no prison sentence could be long enough for somebody who's perpetrated that. So for us, it's not perhaps so much about justice as the truth being heard and spoken publicly and recognised. It's not about, compensation. It's not about being vindictive, but it is about the truth coming out. That's what we want, and we want the abuse of children to stop, which this should help.
John, just one more question. You talk about the truth, and the truth that we now know about Jimmy Savile, about Rolf Harris, about people in positions of power like Cyril Smith. You would never have believed that 10, 15 years ago, unless, of course, you're unfortunately one of their victims. What else are we going to hear? What else is going to come out, do you think?
We know of police investigations going on right now into people who I think, would be a shock when their names come out. We suspect there will be charges later in this year. It's taken, a lot of trouble and a lot of effort by the Crown Prosecution Service to see Rolf Harris convicted. He first protested his innocence. Other people who had been abused by him then came forward and started to corroborate the original complainant's evidence. We think that may well happen with these cases of high-profile and powerful people from Westminster and Whitehall.
Dr. John Bird, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.